Welcome to the Experience of the Soul podcast with Cynthia Alice Anderson, a weekly show helping you grow, prosper, and evolve. Today, episode 302, New Beginnings. And now, Experience of the Soul.
Hello, friends, and welcome to the Experience of the Soul podcast. My name is Cynthia Alice Anderson. I am the host. I'm here today in my home studio, and I'm here with Sean Kilgore in our online, I guess it's a virtual studio, isn't it, Sean?
It is. It is. I love it. It's a nice little setup.
I do too, and the sound has been fantastic, so I've been honored to have you along the journey with me, and as my producer, this is a great day.
I'm really excited about the video version of the podcast too, for all you listeners out there. If you're a regular listener and you listen in the car or you listen while you're doing stuff around the house, we are now going to officially have a video podcast version available on YouTube, on the Cynthia Alice Anderson YouTube webpage. So be sure to check out that version as well. So good morning, friends. Today is Monday, April 1st. Happy April Fool's Day. But this is no joke, right?
Yeah, right. Yeah, we're not kidding. This is really the new show, and it is really a day of new beginnings.
It is. This is episode 302 of Experience of the Soul, New Beginnings.
Yes, new beginnings. And, friends, I'm so excited, really, to be in this time with you and to be on this journey we call life. I'll tell you, friends, it is not without its ups and downs, and happy to have Sean along the journey with me. As I mentioned, he and I are excited about our work together. And it's really interesting. I have this little desk calendar, and when we recorded the last show, Sean, I had it on my desk, and I've just kept it here. And it says, "I always work with and for incredible people. I love my job." What a great affirmation!
I love that.
Yeah,
and I feel that. I feel so lucky to be working, with you, for you, in this capacity.
Oh, it's fantastic. Well, you're doing a great job, and we work together. And we were called together. And yet, and you'll hear me say this a lot, our choices also got us here. Life is choice. Life is choice. So nice to have you along with us, Sean. And if you ever have any production questions or comments, feel free to always reach out via social media, any of those methods. You can also reach me through my website, CynthiaAliceAnderson.com. Go up to contact, and happy to receive an email. Also happy to know how the show is impacting your life. If you'd like us to share how it's impacting you and you want to send a note or an email, we'd love to share it on the air. We've done that from time to time, and I feel like I want to start doing that more because, friends, I can't tell you what it means to us to connect with you and hear how the show's impacting you, because there's so much work behind the scenes, so much spiritual preparation, so much thinking, praying, writing, creating, that when we hear like a real story about how it's impacting you, it really helps us. And then with your permission, we'll share it. Right, Sean?
Absolutely. Absolutely. And I definitely want to call people's attention to your social media that has been sort of booming since Christmas, really, since we got started on that. And so it's another great source of, soul food, essentially, that we're putting out there every single day to get you through to the next podcast or the next service, or however you're taking in the message.
Yes, and in the future we'll do more shout outs. We've been so busy with new tech and new with new shows, but we want to keep doing shout outs to different parts of the world. And I continue to be impressed and impacted by just how far of a reach we have. And this time of year, depending on where you live, it may not be spring where you live. When I was a teenager, I did a trip in Brazil. And it was funny because they said, well, you'll never survive a summer in Brazil. You need to go in the winter. But the winter was our summer. It was just so strange because it was below the equator, I guess. It was so wild for me to realize as a teenager, not everybody is in the same season I'm in. That sounds funny now as an adult that was a surprise. But, when you're a teen, you don't know that stuff. So anyway, today is a special day. We are going to be talking about, as Sean said, new beginnings. I can't believe we're at show 302. And today is a day of new beginnings. So it is our new show. It is April 1st. And this is a time of year where we are in the US where it is spring, right? So everything is new. Things are blooming. If you have flowers in your yard, things are blooming. Of course, in Florida, things were blooming 2 months ago, but that's another story. Uh, so so this is a time of year. Why am I saying all this? Because this is a time of year that we celebrate new growth and new energy. And of course, it is the time also in the Christian tradition where we celebrate Jesus's resurrection, right? It's the most important event in Christianity is the resurrection of Jesus. And the idea is that in my way of looking at the Christian tradition and of walking the walk in my own journey with Christ is that Jesus did not come only to die and be resurrected. He came so that we too would follow this path and this journey. In other words, there's a resurrected life for me, and this is what I am living right now. I'm living the resurrected life of the Christ. This is my goal. This is my desire. This is my affirmation. Last week we had a pretty deep show on forgiveness, and it was talking about transition. Well, the good news is after you do all that work, you get to experience all the good that the universe has for you. Now, when I say the universe, this is another way to say God. The word universe does not show up in the New Testament. It's like God and universe. But the scriptures do tell us God made the universe itself. Nothing can be separate from its creator. So friends, don't let that word get in your way. God, universe, I use those interchangeably. The Christ is our ultimate goal. So this is a profound time of new beginning. It's a time of resurrected energy. It's a time of growth. And I also want to mention that literally there is energy. If you're a empath and you are energy sensitive, you're probably going to sense and feel that there is an energy coming in that's actually supporting your growth. And why would that be? Well, if everything around us is springing forth, we're not separate from nature. We're not separate from creation, although many of us have set up our lives where we're in nature so infrequently that we forget to, connect with that. But in fact, we are one with it. And so as something new is coming forward in nature, something new is coming forward in us. And every year, this gives me a great deal of joy, a great deal of hope, and it's exciting to me to see what new possibilities are going to be coming forth for you as well. I can't wait to hear, some of your stories. Some of you who've done that forgiveness work from the last week, some of you that have really been navigating change. What is this new energy and new focus? And I have a feeling that I'm going to be hearing more stories about new energy coming forward for you. What can happen when there's a lot of new energy coming in, the excitement and the forward movement, it's easy to become mind focused and get a little bit ungrounded in our spiritual walk and also disconnected from nature itself. So because new energy is exciting and I love it, I've had to work very hard at this. One of the things I've learned is that I have a particular personality type, and for some reason, part of my personality type is, a lot of excitement, doing a lot of things, and so it may not be true for you, but I've learned in my own journey as I'm coming into something new that I have to work at staying grounded. I have to work at slowing down. Now, if your tendency is the opposite, you have a hard time getting going. Well, the same work will help you move in the direction you need to move. So that's what's so amazing is that anytime we're in the personality self, um, what I often call the limited self. Many people call it the ego, but in psychology, we know the ego is just the self. So if we're living from the personality, it means we're not living from soul, right? So think about that. If I'm in my personality, I'm not living from soul, and we know soul is the answer to what we want in life. Living from soul is what brings us joy. It's what brings us a sense of purpose. It's what brings us life and energy and peace. So when we're living from the personality, what it really means is I'm living from the wounds of the past because it's what I know. So even though all this new energy is coming in, even though there's all this great new energy, we want to go back to the past because that's what we know. Right? So we don't want to live from personality, right? We want to live from soul. We want to live from soul. So as this new energy is coming in, I want to help you with just like being conscious. My dad would often say things like, well, have you thought that through? That was a phrase he used. Have you thought that through? Now let's think this through. Or another thing my mom would say is, now let's put our thinking caps on before we move forward. Let's put our thinking caps on. I was just talking to a cousin the other day who reminded me of that phrase in our family. It's like, something new is coming forward. I'm in this new beginning. Let me not miss the blessings. Let me not miss the potential challenge. If I start to live from personality, let me be conscious. And you've heard me talk about for several years, consciousness, right? So this is what we're seeking to do is in this new beginning, honoring this new energy that's coming in by staying conscious. It's like, okay, I'm in this new energy. How do I ground? Okay, so I've said that enough. I just want to bring you into where I am, how I'm thinking about this, because again, whether your personality is like mine and you tend to want to go and do and do a lot of things, or whether you're the type that's sitting at home and doing nothing, either way, neither of those are better than another. What we both need to do is meet in the middle and do some grounding practices to stay in soul. Number one grounding practice to stay in soul, believe it or not, is to be in nature, to do a slow walk in nature, and let yourself make time to simply be. To simply be. So that time in nature should not be squished between things. Time needs to be cleared off your calendar. You need to take time to take a slow walk in nature and simply be. Allow yourself to be present. Allow yourself to listen to the sounds. And if you say, well, I work all the time, blah blah blah, do it at night. Turn everything off. Go outside. Find a way. Find a place to connect with nature. And of course, everybody I know works for a living unless they're retired. And even then you're still busy. So staying grounded may be a little bit of an effort for you. That's okay. Take the effort. Make the effort. Because as you make the effort to go and do that, even if you have to drive an hour or whatever, when you get there and you begin to walk slowly, as you begin to, if you see a stream, just stop and sit by the creek or take time. What we used to do when we were kids is we'd sit there and just whittle a stick down by the creek. That was so fun. You just stayed present. You didn't have something in your hands all the time, getting all your energy. There was time to just simply be. And so when you're coming into a new energy, being in nature and taking time to simply be is very, very important. When you're there, make sure and leave a blessing, a thank you, And you may want to take a sprig of a tree or a rock, but before you do that, ask permission from nature itself. Friends, everything around us is living. The rocks, the trees, the grass, everything. And it's not appropriate to just take when we're in nature. Nature's always going to give to us. Mother Earth is always going to give to us. But it is very, very important to be in right relationship with nature itself. So as you take a walk and take time to simply be, while you're there, make a little special offering, whether it's a blessing, putting your hands on the ground, sending energy, because I guarantee you, whatever you do, you get back 100-fold. As you leave that place, if you have a little stone or a little piece of twig, if you decide to take that with you, a piece of the tree, that's going to be a grounding thing for you in the future, because when you get home, you're either going to put it in your pocket, or you're going to have it on your desk or your dresser or somewhere where you can see it. Maybe it's maybe it's a place in your office. For instance, there's a place in my office where it's just a little ledge, in front of my windows, but I have all these shells that I've collected from over time. And every time I see them, it like regrounds me to the ocean. If you live in Florida and you're close enough to get to the ocean, there's nothing more healing than being by the ocean. All the negative ions in the air are very, very healing, and will really support your journey as well in staying grounded. Being on the sand, feeling that salt water, feeling the sun, all those things are very, very grounding. Notice I did not say first to pray, and I love prayer. And if you listen to the show long, I believe in a very rich prayer life. That said, there are many other ways to connect with God, in many ways that are more physical and touchable. And our whole world is in our mind. And sometimes when we pray, we're still in the mind. And we need to connect our spiritual work, the new energy that's coming in with our bodies, and have touchstones in the physical that'll help us connect. One touchstone I have, which you can see behind me, is you can't exactly see it, but these right here, these are antlers. And those remind me of a time when I was in the woods. I was doing one of these walks, and I basically tripped over an antler a deer had left on my property, and where I was living in Kansas City, and became a part of a sacred ceremony I was leading over time. And so in nearly every room in my house, there are antlers, and either people have given them to me or I found them in nature. So as I talked about you leaving a gift in nature, nature always gives a gift to you. And these antlers, for me, represent the higher knowledge, the higher wisdom, right? What do antlers do? They live here, all right, on the deer, on the elk, or on the moose, right? Those big antlers. So think about staying grounded in your process, in your new beginning, by doing something very, very grounding, being in nature, taking a walk, leaving a blessing, and possibly taking something with you. You may not, but see if nature wants to give you a feather, a leaf, a stone. Just be in conversation with that, because again, when you bring those things back into your home, back into your life, they will be physical grounding touchstones into your spiritual journey. And this is very, very important. Again, we tend to live so much in our minds that we forget to live in our bodies, to have soul be a part of everything we do. And when you see things around your desk or around your life or, around your office, that are touchstones to that will really help you stay focused on the spiritual. So I've mentioned a lot about being outside and in nature, and I really can't say enough about that. It's a great grounding technique. Taking, if you can't do like a big walk, or you can't do a lot of time, go in your front yard, take off your shoes, and put your toes in the grass. Find a way to get connected to something natural and Mother Earth, because Mother Earth is always, always a grounding. It's like once we are grounded, there's a song, it's by Jack Gladstone. I'll try to put it in the show notes, but it talks about hooves to touch the earth and wings to fly. And that's what grounding does. It helps ground you to the earth and the here and now. And think about it. The earth gives us everything we want and need, but the grounding of Mother Earth cannot be replaced by something else. A second thing you might do, and this might surprise some of you, is to cook and do something physical around your home that you wouldn't normally do, and do that in a meditative way. But to create something in the kitchen can be very, very grounding for your spiritual journey. And I find this to be an incredible way that I connect. That said, if you are the type that really loves to journal, the type that really loves to go inward, I want to encourage you to journal, to do deep breathing, or even meditating before you go to sleep at night, so that you go into that sacred time of sleep really being grounded, at peace, and feeling connected. Often in my journey, I do all of the above. I mentioned last week that I had been sick for a week, and one of the hardest things of being sick was that I couldn't cook. I did not have the energy to cook. So what I would do to get grounding and get energy is I would just go and walk outside and sit in the sun for 15 minutes, simply to ground myself with nature itself. And then that gave me energy to go in and do my spiritual work. So this is what's so great. Anything I'm talking about doing now will help you no matter where you are on the journey. But as you get grounded, you're going to be able to bring in and kind of anchor that new energy into the here and now. So when energy is new, when there's a new vibe and a new direction on board, what can happen is we start to spin out because the ground under us is unfamiliar. So the reason I'm talking about grounding so much and new energy is that I want you to be able to more holistically live in this new energy with a little more ease and grace than if you don't do these grounding techniques. And I would say, ask me how I know. If you were my friend on the phone, I would say, ask me how I know this works. Well, because I've had to do it myself. Again, I love new energy. I love living my passion and my dreams. I love when new energy comes in. And friend, lately, the new energy coming forward has been such a surprise from the universe. I didn't even know it was coming. And so I've done a lot of release of old beliefs. I've done so much forgiveness that this new energy feels wonderful. This energy is a little different. It's less exciting and more grounded, but I'm still going back to those techniques because it helps me be more sure in my next steps. So I love that. It's bringing me a lot of passion and energy and purpose as I step forward, and just being present, just unplugging for a couple of hours is a miraculous for me on my journey. So as you're incorporating some of these new practices, what I want to invite you into for sure is simply remembering, number one, the universe has good for you. The universe has good for you. And the universe, and well, let me say this, God is always working on your behalf. God is always working on your behalf. So as you're in this new energy with this springing forth of goodness, this time of resurrection, this time of new energy, my hope for you is that you really get to carry it forward in a meaningful way in your life, that you don't just have these little tiny moments and then go back to the way it was. I want you to be really able to operate in the best interest of your own soul by grounding yourself in what's next, grounding yourself in the new energy, grounding yourself in the here and now, so that whatever the universe brings in the form of goodness, you can take in. Whatever the universe brings in terms of challenge, you can weather and manage and move forward anyway. So I want you to learn to navigate more easily when a new energy is coming in, because God loves you, God supports you, and God's will for you is good. I want you to be able to bring this energy in and forward, and I want you to be supported in that. Grounding yourself, time in nature, time at the beach, time to journal, to breathe, to be at peace before you go to bed. All of these are activities that are going to really, really support you. I realize I didn't say enough about the journaling. I want to go back to that a moment before I wrap up here. And if you really love to journal and it's something that grounds you, you probably already have a special journal and a pen that you do it with, or a pencil. And the main thing about journaling that's important is just to write. Don't overly think it, because as you write and you're on the spiritual journey, you're going to start to see your own patterns, your own tendencies. But what writing does is it helps move the energy out of your body and onto the page. And sometimes you're working something out. Sometimes you're helping something to manifest. But what you are definitely doing is honoring your process and releasing energy. And that's always going to help you move forward in a powerful, powerful way. So again, as I mentioned, I do all of these. You may find that you do as well. I just don't want your grounding techniques to become a list of have-tos. I want them to bring you back to center. I'm mentioning a variety of things you might do over a myriad of days or weeks or months, so that you have different practices to come back to that bring you into the moment and help you integrate all the new energy that's coming your way. And that's really what today is about, is honoring the new energy, using these grounding techniques to kind of hold that energy in a positive way and integrate it into every part of your life. So this is my hope for you. I also want to mention, if you have any other questions, let me know. Also, if you need any one-on-one support as you walk through this, please let me know. I'm always honored to support your journey. I think I have a spot or two open. I can almost always work in a session, even if it's a busy week, and am happy to support you on the journey. So friends, love to have you along the journey with us. We're going to be lifting you in prayer for God's highest and best always. And I want to be the first to say, congratulations on your new beginning. We're here with you and for you, and we're honoring you on this journey called life. So thanks again for being with us today. Thank you for all your financial support, and blessings on the journey, dear friends.
We hope you've enjoyed this episode of the Experience of the Soul podcast with Cynthia Alice Anderson, helping you grow, prosper, and evolve. This podcast is made possible because of listeners and viewers just like you. If you would like to support the podcast with your tax-deductible contribution on an ongoing basis or through a one-time gift, head on over to experienceofthesoul.com/support. The Experience of the Soul podcast is copyright 2024 Cynthia Alice Anderson, all rights reserved, and is produced by Sean Kilgore.
A production of the Soul Works Group, Incorporated.